Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. Come on inside the house, bring yourself up your ringside seats, get your popcorn, your sodas, your whiskey, or in this case, your rum today.
Yeah, there you go. Got to mix it up a little bit here. We got to pour one out for one of our fallen friends here, so we mix it up a little bit to pour one out for them.
But come on in, listen to today's episode titled Nothing But the Truth.
Yep. Sorry, guys. I'm telling you now. So, again, behind the scenes, we're recording on Wednesday. We got to hurry. This might be a quick episode because, we got 4 hours of AEW. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. Exactly. 4 hours of AEW with commercials included. This is going to be heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. No.
Who is this, and what have you done with Frank?
I've been. So we're tasting rum this week. I've been having a rum tasting, so now I'm in the mood of rum chata.
That explains.
Yeah, I'm all fired up now. I'm ready to go. 4 hours of AEW Fighter Fest. Give me all the Fighter Fest you can come up with. First person I can't wait to see on Fighter Fest, Mariah May, the glamour, Mariah May. I'm excited to see her set up for her match on Fighter Fest.
So how do you cry when you get disappointed?
No,
you sure?
No. I've been watching AEW for 6 years. I haven't cried over it yet. So it's 100% disappointed me. But no, Mariah May. I'm waiting. I hope she opens the show.
No,
I need to see 4 hours of Mariah May on Fighter Fest.
Did nobody tell you AEW is no longer glamorous?
What?
Yeah, it's no longer glamorous.
What?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. We got
my God.
Shout out our sponsor.
What have I done?
So shout out to our sponsor, Papa's Pilar.
Okay.
Ooh, fancy, right?
Yeah.
Fancy.
Is this a Caribbean rum?
Actually, it is a rum that is made in Key West by the Hemingway Rum Company.
Okay. Key West is kind of Caribbean. So
kind of
still
Caribbean. We'll get
rum.
there.
I see it.
We'll get there. But this expression of Papa's Pilar is finished in Spanish sherry casks.
Uh-huh.
So it's definitely a sweet caramel tasting rum.
Nice. I'm excited to try it. I've been hitting the cheap stuff up till now, so I'm ready to go. Let's get some class.
Let's give a toast. Let's give a toast. We will toast to R-Truth.
Okay.
Toast to Carlito.
Okay.
Toast to Sarah Logan.
Yep. Apparently.
May your paths find you better places. Mm-hmm. And just in case, may your path always wander back home.
I'm sure. Hopefully the door will be open. I'm sure they're looking forward to it.
Cheers.
It definitely does have a sweet taste.
Mm-hmm. Very sweet
like
taste.
Mariah May. So let's talk about her being on Fighter Fest tonight. I'm so excited.
All right, Trick. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's if you're looking for her on Fighter Fest
or Dynamite, Dynamite's the first 2 hours, and then Fighter Fest.
She's not going to be there.
Nope.
No.
Why not?
She's not going to be there.
I thought so I heard a rumor that she was making her comeback this week. That's what I heard.
She came back.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, what'd she do on Collision and I missed it?
No, the glamour has now come to NXT.
What? Oh my goodness. I can't wait to watch NXT now because that sounds exciting to me.
Don't know if she'll be keeping the name of Mariah May. Saw one little comment that said since she debuted in June, maybe they should call her Mariah June.
There you go. She could be Mariah Saints.
But Mariah May is actually her shoot name, apparently, her first and middle name. So,
Oh, yeah. Well, they figure out her last name. They'll get it. They'll work it in there.
Yeah, it should be Mariah something.
Mariah Saints. Why not?
There's already a Ricky Saints.
Yeah, but that's the bring in. If you cross over, if you go through the forbidden door.
That's the crossover from AEW to WWE. The crossover from WWE to AEW. Is it still Jericho's podcast?
Apparently, yeah. You got to pass through there. That's the gatekeeper. Got to pass through there and trash them some way or another.
Or now Arrow Hawani show.
Yeah, that's true too. Because that was a WWE thing for a little while. Apparently now it's the crossover episode too. So.
Yeah. So
But Jericho's podcast, that's when you really know you made it. That's when you know you got a good seat in AEW for about a month.
Jericho, invite, sir. Come on over to the Bookers Alliance.
I mean, so quiet rumors have had it that Jericho may be doing Jericho's podcast on Sneaking Through the Forbidden. Then we got Chris Jericho Saints. Apparently that's I've heard a lot of rumblings about his time maybe wandering. I haven't seen him in a month, or at least a month. So
no, and I mean I know he's always given look, Jericho's a rock star, so his responses are going to be rock star responses. You can't be a rock star and go with the norm. You know, rock stars always push the envelope. They go against the norm. And he's always been the one that's like, I don't need no Hall of Fame induction. That don't mean nothing, blah, blah, blah. I guarantee you, if they came calling wanting to put him in the Hall of Fame, it's like, oh, yes.
Well, here's my take on that. When he was 50, he probably didn't care about the Hall of Fame. Now that he's nearing 60, I'm pretty sure he's relooking at things like, hold on now, wait a minute. That sure would be an honor. Because I'll tell you, when I was turning 40, you couldn't tell me shit. I knew everything about everything. Oh, hell, when I was turning 20, you definitely couldn't tell me nothing then. I knew it all. But now as I'm getting closer to 50, I'm starting to rethink things like, what about this option? Or maybe I need to slow down a little bit on that. So, yeah, in different stages of your life, things change and priorities shift. And I'm pretty sure when they do, and they're going to make that call to Chris Jericho at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what his...
How do you not? That's the first ever undisputed champion. Exactly.
Combine the WCW and the WWF championship.
Yep.
You're not going to overlook that, right? You're not going to not make the call. And again, like I said, depending on where he's at in the day and time that they call, I'm pretty sure he'll pick up the phone.
That and the Y2J, the whole just introduction of Y2J itself, that's iconic. I mean,
he was probably one of the first big names to actually cross over from WCW to WWF at the time. Yeah, the rush was to go the other way, right? That was where the plethora of people were going. You were getting out of WWF and going to WCW. Jericho was one of the first big names to go the opposite way. And he made history because of it. They're not going to overlook him for a Hall of Fame phone call one day. And he can say what he wants up until this point, but when that day comes, I guarantee he picks up the phone.
Conversation had no intention of being Chris Jericho, but when the day comes and he does get inducted into the Hall of Fame, who inducts him?
Oh, Stephanie.
I would definitely absolutely Stephanie has to. So much has went down between Chris Jericho and Stephanie.
Yeah,
I mean, look, if you didn't grow up in the Attitude Area and you have no idea what we're talking about, just look up the definition in Webster's Dictionary of trash bag wearing hoe.
Yeah.
And you'll see Chris Jericho and a conversation with Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, you can look it up there online, but you're not going to see it on the network because most of the language used in in those segments are probably beeped out by now. So good luck finding the authentic interviews.
All right, so Mariah May is in NXT.
And that's an upgrade there. That is an upgrade.
So I will say this. Look, it's making what happened between Roxanne, Julia, and Stephanie Vaquer, them calling them up. Look, it's making sense, especially if Mariah May was coming in. I still don't quite no knock on JC Jane. I still don't quite understand the title on JC Jane unless it's transitional.
I definitely believe it's transitional.
I mean, that's the only thing I can see looking again.
We got Evolution coming in a month?
Again, no knock on JC Jane, but I mean, just it is what it is.
Yeah, so she's been around NXT for a while.
Yeah.
It's not like she's not deserving to take the shot. I mean, see what happens. Sometimes you make something, sometimes you do something to see what happens.
Sometimes you realize, you were transitional, but I can't change you yet.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Liv was transitional once. So look at her now. I mean, she's bona fide main eventer right now. So I mean, that's
sponsored today, Blue Chew.
There you go. I always find a way to work it in.
Always got to work.
Always find a way to work it in. Maybe with lube.
All right, so let's talk about our actual topic with R-Truth.
What the hell happened this week with R-Truth? What in the F? What are we doing right now?
So look, R-Truth hit Twitter on Sunday and basically blew up the wrestling community, saying that, look, guys, my run's coming to an end. I want to thank everybody for this, that, and the other. And everybody immediately, because it's R-Truth, they were looking for the angle.
Yeah, you had to. I mean, he just main evented Saturday Night's main event against John Cena with probably one of the best humorous gimmicks that I'd seen in a long time.
Cena.
With Ron Cena. Hilarious,
awesome.
Right? I mean, that was awesome. It was funny. It was creative. It was great. And 8 days later, we get the news that he's on the way out.
Yep.
What in the hell? Now, and granted, we heard more about that. So, what our leaks have told us, we're going to share with you guys as the show goes on. But it makes me just wonder, what are we doing here? He's also breaking our streak now because we're, I think, 75 weeks in of saying R-Truth got a job for life.
Is a national treasure.
Yeah, we've been saying that we're at least 75 weeks in.
I'm telling you, there is somebody listening to this show on the inside going, ha! Those guys think they know what they're
healing on
about.
you, dude. I mean, they're really healing on you. It's like they take every single angle that you go, and they're like, you know what? We ain't gonna do that. Let's see what happens.
No shit.
Exactly. We'll show him. Then the other guy, I just kind of get the cast off win because when we disagree, they're like, well, we're gonna go with that guy's idea. We're gonna go with this guy's. They can't really not go with mine because DEI and all that. It hadn't snuck away just yet, so they can't just say, well, no, that guy's wrong. True. Although when they were firing people, they sure didn't stop with people of color at that point, did they? No. Who else took a blow this week?
Carlito took a blow this week.
Another brown person, huh? Triple H is definitely in charge. He's wielding that muscle.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No.
Apparently, rocks out. I guess that's our way of knowing rocks out because, again, rocks out. So there's the third guy. Rocks out. Ron Cena's out. Carlito's out.
Sarah Logan.
What do all those guys have in common?
Sarah Logan.
Woman. Same thing.
You were ready.
You
were ready.
I already knew where it was coming. Is there any more minority groups that we can oppress this week? Any of them?
Well, she was Viking.
I mean, that's even more detrimental. Not only did they catch the female in the group, they also caught the Viking. Goodness.
All right, circling back though to Truth. Look, Truth has been on the scene for a long time. He came in as K-Quick, right?
Yeah, that was in the 90s.
K-Quick. Looking just like he looks today.
Yeah.
Only thing different
Shorter
is
hair.
His braids are further back. That's about
it.
That's about the only thing that's different.
Yeah.
But look, K-Quick came on the scene, very entertaining, moved well in the ring, fantastic, just athletic ability. He didn't really have it on the mic yet, like at the very beginning, but that kind of started opening up.
Back then in that stage, they were heavily scripted. He was coming in kind of at the tail end of the Attitude Era where it was like, hey, we got to tone this nonsense down a little bit, so we can't just say all the crazy stuff that Stone Cold was saying. He was in that, sadly enough, transitional period too of we're going to scale back on some of the bad language. We're going to scale back on some of the raunchy things we're going to say. We're going to tighten it up a little bit. Well, then they packaged him in with Road Dogg. I mean, if somebody was going to do the talking in that group, it wasn't going to be a young, fresh-faced Ron Killings.
But it worked. I mean, him and Road Dogg had a great tag team, and obviously that would be on the scene again in TNA with, was it Ron the Truth Killings?
Yeah, it was Ron the Truth Killings there.
And then Road Dogg, what was Road Dogg in the TNA? He wasn't Road Dogg.
Jesse James or something.
Jesse James or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they had another guy with him, too.
Conan. With 3 Live Crew.
3 Live Crew.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even before he landed in TNA, though, when he left WWE, he wound up in NWA. He was
So that was TNA.
Was it really?
Yeah, NWA. It was when NWA and TNA was there.
Together?
Yeah, he was the second heavyweight champion.
He was 2-time champion with them, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not like this dude hasn't ever, had the reins as far as being the face of the company.
Well, I mean, R-Truth he's held the most titles in WWE history.
Out of everybody.
Now,
he's the 711-time 24/7 champion.
Somewhere in there, I was going to say, now granted, 2 million of them were the 24/7 championship, but nonetheless, they're still title reigns. And Truth is the the most decorated wrestler in WWEF history.
So when Truth wandered back himself, he wandered back into WWE, got back on the scene there, and had
2008.
He had a 17-year run.
17 years.
And in that 17 years, we got introduced to one of my favorite ever characters within pro wrestling, R-Truth.
Little Jimmy.
Little Jimmy, the whole Little Jimmy bit. I mean, just everything about it was hilarious. Every scene that they put him in with Little Jimmy. Somebody had a match with Little Jimmy at one point in time, right?
Yeah. I think a tag match or something that they finagled out there with that.
Yeah.
Made it work.
I mean, it's just some of the craziest stuff happened. But I mean, the entertainment thing, look, yes, R-Truth could go in the ring, but the entertainment part of what they do was what Truth was really good at. Making you laugh. Some of the latest stuff that he did with the Judgment Day.
That was a classic stuff.
Being in the Judgment Day.
Not being in the Judgment
Day. Not giving away the secret location of the clubhouse.
Yeah, remember when Truth was bringing him all the money? Like he was like, man, I took up donations, or I was out there selling merch and all, and then he would just drop, 2-3 stacks full of money in the Judgment Day's hands, and they're like, well, he ain't all bad, he can hang around a little bit.
All because he took a Judgment Day T-shirt and added his name in duct tape across the bottom.
Sold more shirts than the actual Judgment Day did, because why not? Right?
Also, he had a confrontation with 2 Terror Twins. No, not Rhea and not Priest, but the Terror Twins of Tom and Nick Mysterio.
Yeah, can't forget those guys, because I mean they were all over the place. Don't forget them. Don't forget where he was working with them, and he tag teamed against D-Generation X.
D-Generation X.
I mean, he was working with HBK, Shawn Michaels, and the Game Triple H, and until one of them cut their beard, it was like, well, that gimmick's gone. I think that's what happened with Truth. I think when Ciampa cut his beard and they couldn't do that gimmick no more, I think they were like, God, what is this guy doing here still?
So look, there was always two people that if they were in the ring, you can almost guarantee that whoever's across from them, they're going to make them break. Sami Zayn's one of them. Yeah. R-Truth is the other.
Yeah, I think Truth's even further along than Sami is by eons. Yeah. Truth made Brock break, and I mean nobody
makes Brock
right. Brock looked like, before he made him break, Brock looked like he was gonna kill him. He's like, I'm gonna run over there, I'm gonna smash. Then when he did that, Brock just said, you know what, F it. He's like God. He couldn't control himself. And that's the kind of humor that Truth brought.
Yep.
Because he would say the most outlandish things that for a fact nobody could have wrote for him. There's just no way. We've been saying that for a month now. No way anybody's writing this stuff for him, because it's too creative, right?
Yep.
And sometimes you can only attribute that to the person that does it. Nobody could write that and somebody else just go out there and act it like a script and make it that authentically funny. It has to come from the individual, and it has to come on the fly. If they give me a script if they give Brock Lesnar a script where he knows he's going to say that, no way Brock breaks. Brock's read it 6 times. He knows what's coming. He's like,
what's coming.
Right. When it hits, he's like, whatever. And then he goes over there and demolishes him, as per the character. But because that was organic, that was fresh, he was like, wait, what the hell did he? And then he just broke out laughing. He's like, he's like, God, I got to go over here and throw this guy around in a minute. But now I got to laugh like a child in here because that shit's hilarious. Yep. So it is what it is.
Now, the last program that Truth wound up working on TV was against his childhood hero, John Cena, which is hilarious because John is 5 years younger than Truth.
Yeah, but that's his childhood hero. I mean, he's looked up to him since he was just knee-high to a grasshopper.
He came out with the shirt, Ron Cena.
Hilarious.
Fantastic.
Hilarious.
In the match, he did the 5 moves of doom better than John Cena's probably ever done the 5 moves.
Definitely better than he did that night, that's for sure, because John was moving a little creaky at that point.
So as story is going, there is a rumor, and granted, we've not seen confirmation, and of course,
we probably never
will. But look, there's rumor going that John actually tried to save Ron's job.
Yeah, I have zero doubt in that. I have zero doubt.
John would do that. That's the kind of guy John is.
Especially the history that he's had with Truth. I mean, John was gone from wrestling for 5 years, and Truth would still bring his name up. Oh, that's my hero. You guys got. I mean, so he always gave, flowers to his friend when he didn't have to. There was no reason to. He could have said the same thing about Andre the Giant, but he's like, no, John Cena, that's the gimmick. I'm living true to the gimmick. He kept that name fresh. And when it was time to, pay it back, John tried. He did.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think what John found out is this ain't 10 years ago where John had all the stroke. 10 years ago, John Cena had said, hey, I need Truth around here. They would have signed him to a 10-year contract. They're like, well, we're keeping him as long. This TKO thing, this is a different animal here.
Yeah, TKO is a different animal. Like we always cite our sources, Busted Open. Bully and Mark were talking about R-Truth, and both of them were in the agreement. Look, had Vince McMahon still been at the helm, there's no way Truth would have ever been let go of anything, even if he just was kept around for commentary on a pre-show.
Yeah, I mean, it's anything. Vince, for all his faults, always had that mentality of, you got to keep guys in the family.
Loyalty.
You keep them in the family because, hey, they made me a lot of money down the road.
Yep.
I'm going to make sure I take care of them on the way out. You know what I mean? And that was, unless you had that Bruno Sammartino or Bret Hart type falling out, Vince kept you in the family, even if he had to let you go, even if you were a detriment to yourself, like Yokozuna and guys like that. He had to let him go because he said, hey, I'm doing you more damage keeping you here than I'm not. But he kept him in the family. Look at Titus O'Neil, another example. Yep. Probably the same age as Truth, with half the career stat, but probably similar in age. But Titus still has a job there. He's still affiliated with the company because Vince set him up and said, hey, were you the best wrestler in the ring? No. Did you make me a buttload of money along the way? No. But the philanthropic things that you do in the community make you a valuable asset to the company because you're an ambassador now. So they kept him in that role. Now, there's nothing saying WWE won't find some kind of role like that for Truth going forward, right? I mean, because they'd be kind of foolish not to. But we haven't heard anything yet. So it makes you wonder, like, what are we doing here?
Well, so I know in Truth's Twitter post, X post, Twix post, whatever you want to call it, he said that he was, being released, but the truth of it was his contract wasn't being renewed.
Yeah.
He had 2 weeks left on his contract.
So I've heard rumor that there were offers to renew his contract, but they wanted to do it at a substantially lower amount. And I mean, let's be honest. I've heard people say it this week. Truth at Comic-Cons and signings and things like that, popping into an indie show, doing his shtick, could probably make way more money than what they were offering him.
Yep.
So when you look at it from a business standpoint, now we're looking at it as fans. Up to this point, we've looked at it as fans, and we don't not want to see Truth on our TV. So this pisses us off, right? But in the real world, I mean, Truth isn't no spring chicken, right?
No.
He's got to be able to cash in where he can when his popularity is at the highest. And if he can do that in the indies and on Comic-Cons better than what WWE has offered him, he made the right choice.
And playing devil's advocate on the business side, you've got a 50-something-year-old man in a full-time wrestling contract who doesn't really wrestle full-time.
Yeah,
so
I mean, yeah.
Even if you look at it on
he's backstage, he's a skit guy. So.
Even if you look at it from that aspect of it, yeah, I mean, it sucks from a fan's perspective, but if you put your business glasses on and you look at it, like, okay, sure, they got to make that decision. I also heard
now keep in mind, as you say that, though, Truth wrestled more times than Roman did last year. Somehow or another, Roman's making 8 figures.
'Tis true, but we don't talk about the tribal chief that way.
Absolutely. I mean,
we apologize.
OTC, as we know, we're gonna put our ones up and just put our heads down.
We apologize, we apologize, tribal chief. We acknowledge you. We acknowledge
we didn't mean it.
We didn't mean it. No. So
we're just trying to shield for truth.
but in regards though to a lot of people hating on Hunter. Going, Hunter, why couldn't you stick up for this guy? Why couldn't you keep him around?
Well, I mean, I explained that already. He's a black guy. Is what he is.
True.
Hunter ain't sticking up for us.
But even if it did fall into the scenario of what if he did? And I mean, they're going, yeah, you got creative control, but sorry, you don't make the financial decisions.
Right. Yeah. At the end of the day, they've sold the TKO now. So I mean, and again, like you said, from other podcasts, other sources and whatnot, apparently this is a TKO staple. I mean, this isn't nothing. This isn't new to them. They've done the same in UFC.
They do this crap in UFC.
Yeah, I heard a lot of the UFC guys who you would have figured, would have been around for Daniel Cormier, guys like that, that you would figure, hey, they aren't going to be fighting anymore. We know that, but they're always going to be a part of the company just because. Endeavor came in with UFC and said, hey, there's a lot of money you guys are spending to keep these guys just to hang around. They got to go. So if you sell a family business, sometimes the family values sell with them.
Yeah, that's true. But what happens next to R-Truth? Like what happens? Look, you've already had Dreamer go public and say, Truth, reach out to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously he's going to wind up somewhere if he chooses to continue down the path of being on our TVs in pro wrestling.
Which I hope he does.
Would it be smart for him to go to TNA and rekindle some of that magic and memory, even though, now they've got that connection with WWE? Absolutely.
Yeah. Keeps him in the family. He could, he could be used. He could obviously do work with WWE whenever he wants, but the TNA contracts are set up that you can do those outside bookings and things like that. So yeah, if there's an opportunity for that, 100%. Plus, I mean, hell, he was again their second champ ever. I could see them putting him in their Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Again, same as what we just said about Jericho. You don't pass that up.
No, you don't pass that up at all. Now, I mean, would it be kind of like bittersweet seeing him in TNA? Sure. I mean, because you're like, oh man, he was in WWE, just did a thing with John Cena, blah blah blah. I mean, because there is a quite a rivalry that unfortunately we'll never get to see unfold by him leaving the WWE.
Truth has a rivalry?
Truth has a rivalry. Well, somebody has a rivalry with him, and Truth don't know it.
Oh, okay. Well, enlighten us, sir.
So Cody Rhodes is 0-4 against R-Truth.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Cody Rhodes is.
So wait, you're telling me R-Truth is going to retire, having bested the Golden Boy?
The Golden Boy.
Holy
so,
look at that.
Unfortunately.
Well, he ain't 0-0 against Cena.
No,
he definitely took that pitfall this last week.
But yeah, we're never going to get to see that unfold in a WWE ring. Who knows? Maybe we'll see it as a skit on YouTube somewhere. Who knows what'll happen. But yeah.
Still got an event this weekend. There's nothing saying
that it can't happen. That's true.
And so now, we got a couple of minutes here, so let's wander into hypotheticals, right?
Okay.
Like let's have a little fun with it on the way out, right?
Okay.
What's to say that Truth doesn't come out on this upcoming Monday Night Raw, possibly Money in the Bank, in let's say a salmon color jacket, right? Some blue pants and a white dress shirt and a blue tie. And call out John Cena as Ron Cena and just say, I want to thank you for the opportunity you gave me. I want to thank you for sending me out the right way. I want to thank you for letting me have a shot at the champ on my way out. And then that turns into an axe kick and all that. Yeah, that would be amazing as an angle. I don't see a purpose behind it. I mean, that's a lot of seed planting to get to that. I mean, hell, when you first told me about Truth getting released, I'm like, oh yeah, gimmick all day long. Hey, this hoax. Then I saw like ESPN reporting on it, and I'm like, wait a minute. WWE don't really want to swerve, the news outlets like that, because that takes away from the little bit of credibility they do have. So I'm like, this ain't looking good, right?
There was some missed opportunity. I mean, if he was really going to be let go, and, they could have worked it in creatively where, him versus Cena could have been a loser leaves town match or, loser must retire
some fun
match,
with
something. And it could have been so much more. Now, if we're going to fantasy book it, what I would love to see, Cena's been taking pinfalls left and right. Cena's been taking everybody's finishing moves left and right.
Yeah.
Right. This tag match that they got coming up in Money in the Bank, it ain't for the belt.
No.
Right. So here's what I would love to see. I would love to see either Cody or Jay, either one of them, get into a scenario where Cena is near the ring, near the ring apron. Cody or Jay go for the pin. Cena tries to kick out, but you realize he can't kick out because somebody's holding his leg. And then the camera just pans to Truth at down by the ring apron. Okay. He gets up, does the you can't see me piece, and just walks out.
That's funny. I like that one. That's fun. I like that one.
That would be a goodbye. That would be cool.
I like that one. No, that's fun. So now a time-honored tradition, right, is for the old veteran to pass the torch to the young up-and-comer, right?
Right.
So how about this scenario? Walk with me here. Same tag team match, same Money in the Bank, because that's probably Truth's last contracted event where he'd still be under contract. Same thing happens. Well, let's say halfway through the match, all of a sudden music starts playing, and out comes Travis Scott. Here comes Travis Scott to interrupt the tag team match, right?
This guy.
Well, he comes in the ring, and then, he lays into Cody, and he lays into Jay, and, he's getting ready to give the pin to John Cena and Logan Paul, and then all of a sudden you hear "What's Up" start playing in the back. Well, then Truth comes out there and he beats up Travis Scott because they're two rappers, right?
Right.
He beats up Travis Scott. He throws him out of the ring or whatnot, and then he goes to give the pin to Cody and Jay and whatnot. And as he goes to do that, Travis Scott slides back in, low blows Truth. Truth falls over, and then we see a AA on the Cody Rhodes, and then we see the W go to John Cena, and R-Truth couldn't save him. What better way to pass the torch from one rap star to the next?
4 letters, 1 word. Yuck.
Anything I say Travis Scott related, you're not going to like it.
I ain't feeling it.
You're not going to like it.
I ain't feeling it.
I'm trying my best. I'm trying to get you over Travis Scott.
Too much fiend.
Little bit of rumor in there. So there is some rumor that Jay was never supposed to be involved with this. The rumor was that this was, not Jay, Logan Paul. He was never supposed to be involved.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Travis
Scott.
Scott.
Because Travis Scott was supposed to be doing this spot, and somehow or another that fell through. I don't know if Travis ain't ready or...
They say that he was training in Booker T school,
yeah.
And the report was that, it came from the trainers like he wasn't ready.
Yeah, I could see that because, Booker's been spending more time with Jasper Troy than anybody else, so
How in the hell that boy get a title shot against Obafemi?
Booker? When Booker's your manager,
dude,
but hey,
nepotism ain't the right word, but it's something
close
adjacent
to it, right? So look, we're the Bookers Alliance, right? But he's the Booker on NXT.
Yeah,
he's the official Booker on NXT.
Yeah, he said move over, Shaw.
So if he books it, hey, you got to take it because Booker said I'll give you the bookend if you don't.
Yep.
So we wandered into a title match. We're gonna see how that turns out. So I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna wait.
Look for Oba's sake. For Oba's sake, I hope that boy can go.
Yeah.
Because
he got no choice.
If not,
I think Oba's gonna make him go. I think Oba's gonna put that work in.
Look, all Oba needs to do is just like Gunther, slap the shit out of him one time, and that boy might come to life.
So I hear what you're saying, but again, fantasy book. Let's wander down this path. What if they Stephanie Vaquer Obafemi and give that title to Jasper Troy and then send Oba up to the main roster?
See, that's the thing, man. You got so many people
that
are just sitting around doing nothing on the main roster.
That's a cluster F.
I don't know.
I'm 100% with you on that. I just wanted to throw it out there because I knew it would kind of rub you the wrong way too. So I'm like, well, let's just throw that out because anything with all this newfangled stuff. But I'm with you. I don't think
Oba is. Look, we've called Oba early, just like we called Bronson early.
Yeah.
Look, Oba is special. That dude is special when it comes to an attraction.
Yeah.
Look, he's a worker. This dude can go.
Yeah.
Dude can move in the ring for as big as he is. He's powerful, strong.
He's got every bit of the look.
He's got everything that you need. But man, there is something about him that just, when he pops up, you look at your screen and you go, damn.
Yeah. I'll tell you, when I think of when I see Obafemi now, I think about what Vince Buster saw in Ahmed Johnson 30 years ago.
Exactly.
I feel like Vince was like God. Oh, Ahmed, if Ahmed could have been, if he'd had the charisma, if he'd had the work ethic, if he'd had all the package put together, Vince looked at it like, oh my God, this is going to be my black champion. This is going to be, bigger than Ron Simmons was in WCW. This is going to be, and Ahmed just didn't have it. I mean, there was a broken in there. There was a missing in there. Nobody's fault. He didn't have it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Oba's got it. So if you don't if Triple H doesn't hunter Oba like he did R-Truth this past week, and he uses him correctly, Oba could carry your wrestling into the new era.
Look, when it comes to Oba, I don't say this about many people, but when it comes to Oba, The day that man comes up to the main roster, put the damn title on him already.
Yeah,
just do
put
it.
a title on
Just
him.
do
Absolutely.
it.
He'll make an impact.
Just do it.
Remember when KO came up and
Yep.
fought John Cena, immediately won the U.S. title like day one?
Yep.
Same difference. When Obafemi comes up to the main roster, have something already planned out and polished for him. You want that already done. You need the next 6 months planned out because he needs to make the impact, not an impact, the impact.
Yep. And you know what though? And it feels weird saying this. He kind of took Trick's spotlight.
Yeah. That's why the whole TNA thing really worked out good for Trick.
Yeah.
Because I mean, hell, he took everybody's spotlight. Yeah. Let's be honest. There were a lot of guys for from Carmelo Hayes to Trick to Ethan Page to all the new guys that are coming in. All the changes that they're making. The whole dark side or whatever in the hell they are. All that is all happening here. And at the end of it, you say, damn, Obafemi, he's main roster guy. That's all I take away. Every time I watch NXT, I'm like, I like some of the new stuff they're doing. I like some of the change. I like Trick with the TNA title. I'm like, man, that's creative. I like it. But at the end of the day, I'm like, man, Oba's still the ruler over there. And ain't nobody going to knock him off that spot until it's time to wander up to the main roster.
Let's talk about Carlito for a moment. We got to show some love.
Carlito. He's cool.
He's cool.
We'll talk about it. He's cool.
He's cool. Carlito obviously was on the scene way back in the day.
He's an Attitude Era guy.
Post-Attitude
Era.
Disappeared for 13 years.
Yeah, why not?
All of a sudden, wrestling gets hot in Puerto Rico. And here comes Carlito.
Yeah.
Back
WWE
to
wanted to find a way to get their Latin community back, heated up again.
Yep. Carlito comes back. It was a joy to see him come back. Of course, he came back in the Rumble as a surprise entrant in the Rumble. Carlito, over those years, being on our TVs again, he had some controversial moments that it might have led to, Carlito unfortunately had to realize, hey, you're not in the Attitude Era anymore.
Yeah, right. You pump the brakes a little bit. Now, we're PG friendly, even though we're not
things you wanted to say.
We're PG anymore. Yeah. But we're still PG.
Even though the whole thing that happened between Dom and Liv with Carlito peeping behind the corner, that was probably the most hilarious bit.
That was definitely cool. So now again, because we get the scoops, we dropped a few scoops on you guys about the scoop I got on Carlito is he was costing the company too much money in apples. So they said, damn, apples are like eggs nowadays.
It's damn tariffs.
Yeah, exactly. The apples done went up to the price of eggs now, and Trump ain't getting them down. So they said, damn, if we got to keep buying these damn apples, this man ain't worth the money that we're spending on his contract.
That and the whole power bill in the clubhouse with that PS5 going on.
I mean, they never turned that off.
They never turned it off. So.
They need a plasma TV. That way that joke can heat up to about 300 degrees, then they have to cut it off. We need to get them that. We need to invest.
So obviously we'll miss Carlito being on our screens. Carlito was also a great comic relief. Let's talk just for a moment about Sarah Logan. Sarah Logan was introduced to us along with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott.
The Riot Squad.
The Riot Squad. It was great to see her. She was cool as far as she had a different in-ring style. And then her real life husband is it Eric?
Eric or Ivar. So they did an interview recently, and they said when Triple H bought him up and Vince wanted to put him on the main roster. I think Eric said that. He said, Vince said, we tried to get War Raiders, and he's like, no way. He told him Viking Experience, and then they said, well, what about Viking Raiders? And he said, okay, but we can't fix it this week. We'll fix it next week. And Eric said, okay. So he was like, okay, good. And he started to turn around and walk away. And he said, Vince hollered back at him and said, oh, by the way, you guys are Eric and Ivar. It doesn't matter which one is which, but that's your names. You're Eric and Ivar. So it don't matter today either because we don't know which one it was. So Eric or Ivar, either way, it don't matter which, but it's one of them.
But she essentially, she wasn't wrestling anymore, even though she had some spots around the ring. She was basically a valet. Valhalla, of course, in the Viking lore, Valhalla was the great place in the beyond where if a Viking died a warrior's death, that's where you went.
That's where Natalie Portman went at the end of Thor, remember?
Correct.
Because she was Thor for about a week, so she got to go to Valhalla. And I'm like, well, wait, wouldn't she just go to like regular people's heaven? But hey, why not?
No. But yeah, so she's also not being renewed contract. Now,
three comedy characters,
three
comic relief characters.
Right. So here's my takeaway from all of this as we kind of get to the end of the episode and wrap things up here. My takeaway from this is, look, I don't care who your favorite is right now in the WWE. Unless you are John Cena, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, along those lines.
Yeah, nothing's guaranteed.
Nothing's guaranteed. You're not safe. And if you like somebody, pull like hell for the person you like.
Absolutely.
Because tomorrow they may not be on your screen.
Absolutely. That's where the difference is. You got to throw your support in there. I mean, obviously that doesn't mean spend a whole bunch of money. You know, we're not trying to tell anybody to go broke to go buy a bunch of, I don't know, like Big E t-shirts or something. So Big E don't give, but I mean, Big E is a person of color. So he's probably on the chopping block. But I digress on that nonetheless. I digress. But no, what we're saying is though, if you like, hey, post on their social media, post their stuff, repost their videos, do something to get traction behind your favorite characters because, again, we've been promoting Truth for the last year and a half, and he's not there no more.
Yep.
So it is what it is. But then, of course, we're old guys. We're not their key demographic no more. So there's always
We're about to age out of that. Was it 18?
We're on our way to getting released if we ain't careful.
We're going to get released.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we ain't careful here, we're still talking about getting a job. Hell, we're getting to that age where we also could be released sometime soon.
So that's what's going on right now in the world of the WWE. Look, I mean, also it's not lost on us the fact of if you bring in all this new talent and start calling people up to the main roster and all this other stuff, you got to make room somewhere.
Yeah.
And like, okay, we get it. But look, nobody ever told us that, what did you get, for what you were going so hard after? And it's like the Thanos thing. It cost me everything. Nobody told us that our fandom for all of these other people that came in was going to cost us Truth and Carlito.
We're enjoying seeing the AEW people graduate up to the main roster and the WWE and all that. But now they're kicking out the old guys that we grew up with, and I don't like it.
All I got to say is, Miz, you better watch out. You better watch out.
Miz just moved. He just bought a brand new house and all that. Miz, I hope you paid cash.
I hope so, sir.
Get your shit in order.
All right, everybody. That's our episode today. Thank you for listening to us. Reach out on our social media platforms. Drop us a line. Drop your favorite memory of Truth, Carlito, Sarah Logan. Let us know your thoughts. And with that, everybody, we bid you adieu.
And what's up? And what about Mariah May? Make room for her.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also, connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X.